Hi everyone, it's Mari here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be creating a spooky and fun collage card for you today using some really cool products from All & Create. I'm going to include a little bit of snark with this card too, and I'll share that with you as we go along. This stencil is called Frame Frenzy, and it coordinates really well with the parallel rectangle die set from All & Create. So you can see how that stencil masks the die once you die cut it. And there's also these coordinating pieces here as well that cut out shapes that fit into the spaces in that rectangle die. So that's really cool if you want to create some little pieces to overlay those openings. So you could stamp on them or ink blend on them, whatever you want to do, and then insert them over top of the openings. What I'm going to do here is I have a grip mat on my desk, and I'm going to just take the mask and lay it over top of my die cut, which I've already die cut from that rectangle postage die set, the parallel rectangle die. And I'm laying the stencil over top, and I'm just using a little bit of Alt-New low-tack tape, really great masking tape from Alt-New, and I'm just going to make sure that my stencil doesn't move because it doesn't stick out over the edges of that die cut, so it's not going to be on the grip mat. So in this way I can just ensure my paper's not going to move because it's stuck to the grip mat, and then of course I have the rest of the mask taped off. So I'm just taking a blending brush here, and I think this is Speckled Egg Distress ink, and I'm just going to put a little bit of color around the edges of each one of these different areas, and I'm going to just kind of blend it into a little bit of the center or the white area, and then you'll just see me coming in with a bunch of other colors. So you'll barely even be able to see the speckled egg, but I really wanted to build up from light to dark with my colors and just get kind of like a really interesting color scheme going here. I cannot see the colors that I've used here as I'm doing this voiceover, but you should be able to see. I think that this might be Uncharted Mariner, which is a really great color. It's kind of a really pretty, kind of a navy teal, and I like how it layers over top of that speckled egg. So I'm going in now with some purples. I believe this might be Wilted Violet. Honestly, you could use any colors that you have in your stash. And I love using distress inks. I love the vibrancy of the colors. I love how they blend. I wasn't going for a really solid opaque blend here, obviously. I'm just kind of trying to create sort of like some really spooky kind of color here. Now I'm going to use another really fantastic stencil. This one is called Digital Bubbles. It's stencil number 45, and I love it. I think it's really fun. And I thought that this would create just a really cool background over top of the ink blending that I've already done. So I'm going to take a gray color. This is a little bit of a darker gray, and I'm going to just go over top of some of the areas on the stencil. Not all, but some. And so I just wanted to kind of create just some random circles in some different areas. And you'll notice that I'm using a smaller blending brush here just to so that I could work in these smaller areas with this brush and this stencil. So very cool. I highly recommend you check out the different stencils from All & Create. They do have a wonderful catalog of really cool and unique stencils for sure. And I find that with actually all of their products, there's nothing really like All & Create out there. They're a very unique company with really different kinds of products, which makes them very unique and fun. So I really like how this turned out, and it's not black, but it's not a light gray either. So it's just kind of like a medium tone of gray, which gives us that really cool texture in the background. So now we can start to build some other layers. I am going to just take a little bit of water in the palm of my hand here with my water spritzer and just add that over top of my distress ink. That's going to add some really cool water spot effect there, or a water spot effect. And now what I've done is I've placed this into my stamp positioning tool. I'm going to put the mask over top again. So this is that Frame Frenzy stencil number 235. I'm putting that back over top. And In the process here, I'm realizing that my magnet's not going to work. I'm just going to go ahead and use that same tape that I'd used previously, and I'm going to tape my stencil down to my Misty just so that it doesn't move here. And I'm going to take that stamp that you can see there. This is a Janet Klein stamp. It's called Boosentials, and this is stamp number 1203. So many great little images for a spooky themed project. I love that. And not just during Halloween. I mean, you could use some of these different objects here, like the tree, for example, or the window. There's some of these different objects that you could use, even for fall, for example, the pumpkins and so on. Some of the images obviously definitely lend themselves to spooky season, but some of these can be used for other times of the year as well. Now, I've stamped that out with pigment ink, VersaFine Nocturne black ink. It's a slow drying ink, and that allows me to do some embossing if I want. So you saw that I put some clear embossing powder over top of that tree. And you can see how nicely that tree stamped with that ink into that spot there, and how nice that mask, the stencil, worked over top of there, just masking off the edges. And now I've got my image back in my Misty again. I'm going to stamp the bats. You could do all of the stamping at one time if you want. That's totally up to you, however you choose to do it. I did each of my images separately just so that I could make sure that I didn't smudge any of my ink or any of that in between when I wanted to do the embossing. So again, I'm using my VersaFine Nocturne ink, and I'm going to stamp the bats into another one of these postage areas. Again, you could see how cool that mask worked, and I did use a little bit of Post-it tape as well, just to mask off some of the lower area there as well. So again, I did the heat embossing with the clear embossing powder. It just makes that black ink really pop, and it makes it shiny. I just thought it just really added an extra little bit of an effect. Now this fence is from stamp 1296, Too Cute to Spook by Janet Klein. I love how you can get all of these little 4x3 stamp sets that have so many different little images that you can mix and match, right? So well. And so I went ahead and heat embossed that fence also off camera. So now that element is set aside. I'm ready to start to work with this stamp set, which is called Too Cute to Spook. Actually, that fence came from stamp set 1295, Moonlight Mischief. This is Too Cute to Spook. Both sets, all of the stamp sets I'm using today are from Janet Klein. This set, Too Cute to Spook, is adorable. You've got the girl and the pumpkin. I did choose some of the elements from Boosentials as well, like that potion bottle and the ghosts to combine, actually the treat bag as well, to combine with this set. And I'm stamping this out, inking this up and stamping it out onto some white cardstock using an alcohol ink, friendly ink. This is Memento Tuxedo Black. This will not move when you use your alcohol inks. So any kind of alcohol ink that you like to use, whether it's Olos or your Copics, your Tri-Blends, whatever you love to use, your Ohuhus. I'm using Olos here today. And the lovely thing about the Memento is it's not going to smear or move in any way as you color. So I am trying to show you the caps as I color here today. I'm trying to give her sort of a spooky looking face. So I kind of went in with sort of non-traditional colors to give her face kind of a spooky look. And I'm going to color her hat in a variety of different shades of gray and give her kind of an overall kind of creepy appearance. So just really love working with the Olos. They are a really, really great marker to work with. The ink in the Olos is free in the barrel. There's no foam or anything inside of the barrel. And so the ink flows really, really well out of these markers. And I love it. I stamped this onto Olo paper, and I love their paper as well. It works very well with their inks. And you'll just see that I'm just trying to create a little bit of a shadow on the edges of the hat, and then going in with a lighter color just to pull that out attempting to create a little bit of a lighter area in the center portion of that witch hat. So really love Janet's images too. Aren't they fun? Her characters are so quirky and so cool. And I don't know what it is about her characters that I love more. Perhaps it's the eyes. I'm not really sure, but I enjoy all of the little accoutrements that she designs with these stamps. Like, look at the quirky little cat. So cute. So always really enjoy working with Janet's art. So fun. So definitely wanted to give this little girl a orange dress and a little top that's underneath. We're going to do a combination of some orange and green. And I believe it is striped. I should have actually put the card in front of me as I was doing this voiceover because I did not put my computer glasses on my desk when I went to do this. So I'm struggling to see my screen as I'm doing this voiceover. I apologize. But the little top that she's wearing is striped, and I am doing a combination of green and orange stripes. And hopefully you can see the cap colors there and those olos. Yeah, so love the color combinations that you can get with the Olo markers. Now, for the centers of the eyes, all I do is go over the pupil in a circular motion and create the color. And then I take a darker color of colored pencil. These happen to be Faber-Castell Polychromos, I believe, that I'm using there, and create kind of like a little bit of a rim around the colored circle. So her eyes are green. And now I'm going in with the same kind of colors of gray that I did her hat to do her boots. And just going to finish that up. You'll notice that I often start with a darker shade and then go in with a lighter. Although sometimes I do go light to dark. It just kind of depends on, I don't know, how I'm feeling about the object that I'm coloring at the time. Sometimes it's the size of the object too that helps me to decide which method I'm going to use here. But for the kitty cat, you can see I'm using more of a darker shade to start off with here around the edges. And then we'll go in and add the lighter, just pulling out that darker. And oftentimes I'll decide I want to darken up the shade area, and I'll go back in after with the shadow and add that in again. Here I'm going in with a lighter color for the outer areas, the paw, or I should say the tail and the ears and the little legs. And I'm going to give that tail a fun stripe, adding some green in the tail as well. So not a traditionally colored cat, that's for sure. Can add a little bit of orange on the tail. And here you can just see I'm going to go in and color the cat's eyes in the same way. So going in with a lighter green in a circle around the pupil, just coloring in a circular fashion with my colored pencil. And then if I feel like the area is large enough, I will go in and add that darker rim around the outer edge of the circle. Now I have everything fussy cut. So I do just take some scissors. I believe I used my either my Cutter Bee scissors or my Tim Holtz recoil scissors, which are fantastic also. I think the recoil scissors are taking over as my favorite for fussy cutting over the Cutter Bee, but they're both great. I find that the recoil scissors maybe work a little bit better for smaller pieces. So I've got the girl stuck down with some foam adhesive there by the tree, and she's looking off into the distance, but I'm going to put something there in her sight line that she's going to be looking at. The little kitty cat's over there by the fence. So you can just see how you can create a really fun scene with this postage die set. So again, this is the parallel rectangle set. You could cut this apart so that it actually looks like postage stamps and use the pieces as separate individual elements for sure. But you can see how cute that ghost looks there. It looks like she's looking at the ghost and kind of freaked out. And the little potion bottle is going to go there. We're going to have a couple of little pumpkins up top there. And then I will find a place for that other little ghost as well. I did pop the potion bottle up on some foam adhesive as well. And honestly, I just wanted to say you can use these spooky season designs really for any time of year, honestly. You could change her hat to a different type of hat. I don't know if you've seen the All in Create stamp set that is the different hats. They actually have a couple of sets. So you could actually replace her spooky hat with a different type of hat. You could color it so that it looks like a party hat. There's lots of different ways that you can use these images so that they don't look like they're Halloween necessarily. And I love that. You could put some of their object in her hand. Just really use your imagination to make these stamps stretch. And they definitely are versatile in that way, that you could use them for lots of different seasons. The little bottle there, for example, you don't have to include the skull on the top. You could switch that up as well. So we're going to put the other ghost up top there. I will add that treat bag in there later where I just had it. I'm not sure why I didn't adhere it down at this time, but I think I'm going to go ahead and add this to my card base at this time, I believe. Oh, no, I'm going to add some sparkle and shine. So we're going to take a little bit of Wink of Stella. This is clear Wink of Stella, so it's just going to add a clear layer of sparkle. A really nice product to work with because once it's dry, it doesn't move. It stays there and it stays sparkly, and you don't have to worry about it shedding its glitter or anything like that. So I'm going to go over lots of the different objects here with my clear Wink of Stella. And then I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, what else do I want? I definitely wanted a white dot on her eyes and on the cats as well, just a reflection, a light reflection in her eyes. I'm going to add a few little white dots to her dress, which I think is kind of fun. And it's a nice thing about the white gel pen. It just allows you to go in and add all kinds of different little details. Now, this is just some clear, thick, glossy adhesive in a sense. I mean, it is a glue, but you can also use this to add different effects to your project. What I wanted to do with this, this happens to be Spectrum Noir, but you can also get, use glossy accents or something like that, crystal glaze from Tonic. And I wanted to add some glitter to this. So this is Rock Candy from Tim Holtz, and I believe it's Ranger. Just wanted to go ahead and add that over top of my dimensional adhesive here. So I'm going to put the adhesive down and then I'll go ahead and add the Rock Candy over top. And that's going to stick beautifully to that adhesive and it's going to dry perfectly. It won't shed and it's going to just look really fun. So it just adds that little bit of extra interest to any type of project where you might want a little bit of glitter. You don't have to worry about this being super messy either. It's very easy to work with. And I really like how that jazzed up my project. Now, once that's dry, I did set this aside to dry for a bit. And now that that's dry, I hope you can see on camera how fun those details are. I'm going to just turn this over and I'm going to add some Altenew foam tape to the back. And I will adhere that onto my landscape top folding card base, which is black. I really like the black as it coordinates with this particular project and what I was trying to achieve here. It looks nice. The black looks nice with the black stamping and the sentiment that's going to be on this card here when I'm finished. So I'm just going to finish placing that little bit of foam adhesive into each one of those, backing those squares. Sorry, I have my head in the way here. And I'm just going to go ahead and center this onto my card base and give that a little push. Press so that it's adhered. This is one of the sentiments. I love these sentiment sets. This is Amusing Cuts, and you can get these in the craft or the black, which is fantastic. And my sentiment says, zombies eat brains, you're safe. So it's definitely a snarky sentiment. And there's so many fun sentiments in those sets. They're perfect for the snarky card that you might like to give someone just for a good chuckle, right? And so I trimmed it in half so that it wasn't one big long phrase. And in that way, I've got a little bit more room to place that on my project. So that's going to finish off my card today, friends. I hope you loved it. I did link up in the description box below too the products that I've used today. If you click those and shop, those are affiliate links. I will receive a small commission at no extra cost to you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.